Hello, folks. Interesting times we live in. And that's a fact. And for those reasons, I brought in a friend of mine. And that is Drew. Are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. So, why don't you tell everybody what we're going to talk about tonight? Drew, why don't you tell everybody what we're
Right.
going to talk about tonight?
I think the most common thing that everybody's kind of talking about is that coronavirus scare that everybody's being such a panic for, which I don't understand why.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have you on tonight. Um, it's about panic in the streets of London, panics in the streets of Tokyo. I wonder to myself. A little Morrissey, right?
Right.
There we go. So, why don't you go into your talk, folks? Drew is a good dude, former military, uh, has lived his life,
No, 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 no. I'm
and
not former military.
okay, okay, I thought you were okay. Sorry.
No, my family, most
Yeah,
of my family served, but I
yeah,
haven't.
yeah. Okay. Well, I made that mistake. Not a problem. It's kind of funny how this stuff works. So just run on with your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts have been since this whole thing's been announced. I mean, it's actually, as the more you start digging in and researching, the more you find this shit's. I mean, they've known about this since what, November? Is the earliest I've tracked it back to of last year.
Well, at least September of 2018, when I got my
Hmm.
viral infection in my lungs. Uh, but I couldn't transmit it for some reason at the time. And it's kind of funny how this shit works, right?
Yeah, it is, especially more digging I've done. I mean, I don't really have much time to do all that digging anymore. Well, next couple weeks I will, thanks to this coronavirus. I get a paid 2 week vacation,
Right?
so I'm going to enjoy this.
Well, go on and tell everybody how it's affected you as much as you want to, right?
I mean, for me, I got to be careful with where I work with the confidentiality bullshit.
I get
But
that.
I mean, which is stupid. I work in a fucking, honestly, a finishing department. I don't really. I mean, I work, but I work in paint. So, but I went into work tonight because they ran us this whole week saying, well, we'll just go up from day by day, because our governor, the idiot that he is, decided Sunday that he was going to put us on lockdown, but he didn't want to use, you know, certain terms because he thought it could induce a panic. I'm like, what? You already induced the panic. I mean, fucking Walmart's bare naked. Supply, as
Which,
soon as they announced it, everybody went hog wild. Oh, we got to have all this. And the panic ensued. I mean, it's the flu.
which is,
Simple as that.
which is absolutely retarded from where you're at. And you and I both know where you're at, and where
Yeah, I
I'm
live
at.
out in
Right?
Bumfuck, Egypt.
Yeah. And the funniest part is toilet paper. Really?
Right.
That is retarded. And uh, sneeze towels, you know, um, the stuff we use if we sneeze. Uh, there's just so much that is so retarded that's happening right now that definitely I want you to go in deeper, in depth on this. At
Oh, I've got
least this
plenty of
point, yeah.
thoughts on this. But I mean, top of the line. I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, some of it, yeah, we could probably say it's biological warfare. Now we can also go, since we do have a tyrannical government here in our own country, let's keep it real. For those that don't know, I do run the channel Sons and Daughters of Liberty, and I am a direct descendant of one of the founding fathers. You'll find my real last name on the Constitution.
Yep, that's a
So
fact.
when I start spewing words like tyrannical government, I know what it means. I've read my family's history. I had read personal journals from John Rutledge, so I know my history, which most people don't know their history these days.
That's so true.
And,
That is very true. Elaborate.
and I look at a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. I mean, can't believe what you're seeing on the news. Period. Don't get your news there. Truthfully, if you hear something, take the time because now you got time. There's no excuse for anybody not to have time to do their own research. That's your due diligence as a U.S. citizen. Do your own research, question everything. Don't take anything anybody says at fact value.
Agree.
Don't take anything I say at fact value. because I have my own personal opinions and views. We all we'll have different lifestyles and walk different paths. You know, that's how we get our personalities and views and shift are shaped is by the paths we've led, the hardships we go through, how we overcome things.
We're
So everybody's different. Everybody's going to have opinions and views that differ.
we are all the foremost experts on our own opinion, and that's fact. That's
Exactly.
why I enjoy having you on, Drew. And this is the first time, besides WPRPN, it's been many moons since we've been on there together.
Oh
And
yeah.
the thing that I think about you is that, of course, I misspoke when I thought you were a veteran. I mean, that's fine. That does not bother me in the least. But you always had good opinions and thoughts. And keep going on, brother.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I think you probably heard me talk about my family history and stuff. That's where you might have got that idea from. But my grandfather, we talked about the War Powers Act. Well, my grandfather, his two brothers served in Korea during the Korea War. So, that's kind of an interesting tidbit for my side of the fence to see something that took place in their generation and their history happening once in my generation.
Well,
And it's
that's
not even over a
because
war.
you remember what your family has endured during that time, and go on and spread some love on that, right?
Right. Because it's, very much part of my history. I know a reason I didn't serve because I was going to. My grandfather made me promise not to serve. He said I served, my family's all served, so my grandchildren wouldn't have to. And I've kept that promise and never enlisted. Even though I almost did. I was at a recruit office when I was like 16.
That might have been where the misunderstanding happened. It doesn't matter how that happened. The point is that you bring a totally new frame to this conversation, and that's an important frame that I think that most will never understand. In your thoughts?
Well, yeah, because I have the perspective. I've seen that side of it, but I've also seen the other side of it, that most people don't get. It's just like somebody posted on Twitter. I'm not going to name names because I have a lot of respect for the dude, but it's the same shit every time come March through April. And you, as a military official that's been in the military, you know this. This is when they do their mass drills, when they move their equipment. They're
Yep.
tripping because, oh, it's a pandemic. Oh, no, it's not. You guys reported the same shit a year ago and the previous year before that. You guys are just getting caught up in the pandemic hoopla, and now you're becoming no better than stupid Alex Jones, who just fearmongers. It's the same shit. Go back and look at your timelines. You'll see you reported the same shit last year.
Well, exactly. I mean, we don't spread fear
I,
porn here, but what we
I lived
do,
out
but what we
right next
do,
to Fort Bragg for a while. And I know here in the next couple of weeks, they're going to be doing a mass military drill because they do it every year around the same time. I don't know what
ex-
state they're going to this year.
exactly.
They, but and most people that are from military families, they know this. It happens, and that's something we got to be. I think a lot of people need to start being careful about, especially now. Don't become the media. That's not why we tune in and watch you guys and listen to you.
That's exactly right.
And most of us, why didn't we panic when everybody else was panicking? Because we already got our shit. We're more prepared than most people. There are people more prepared than I am, but I got other skills to rely on. I mean, I've been trained in survival my whole life. I don't need much. I need little.
That's exactly right. It's about not getting caught on your back foot, not being caught. Um, how do I put this? Not being caught with folks that
Flat-footed.
try to, yeah, they try to put something on you when you're not prepared for it. And preparedness, I guess, this is a better way to approach this conversation, is that it's not just flat footed, it's all of a sudden these morons that have been running in and getting toilet paper, which is moronic. You should be getting food. You can wipe your ass with t-shirts that you cut up and wash if you need to.
I mean, the old
Or a
the old fucking
bidet,
diapers,
or an old
cloth
bidet.
diapers.
Yeah, or cloth. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's just retarded what they're doing, and that's
Well,
the funniest part to me is if you're that worried about what you're doing. Um, there's so many ways to wipe your ass, and still you want to go get toilet paper.
I mean, fuck, do what they do in Europe. Use a bidet. Easy to make and fashion.
Shit,
They don't use toilet paper.
shit,
They use water.
shit. They have bidets now. I
Right.
mean, brother, that's the whole bullshit about it. I have one. I'm sure you have one.
Right.
Wipe your ass without having to use anything. You know, just water. It's just moronic, and that's your
It's like the
thought
most
and
panic
my
way to do
thought.
it that way.
Yep.
I mean, let's keep it real. If this was a real thing, fucking Walmart wouldn't be open. Amazon wouldn't be open. Your restaurants that are running just drive-through wouldn't be open.
Yep.
Factories that are supposedly critical. That's how we got away with it because we actually loophole really. They make screws and paint screws. That's not their main bread and butter because they rely on the automotive industry too. But that was their loophole to keep us working up until the night. Until inventory levels are so low they can't afford it. But yet they made enough money off those damn screws that the next 2 weeks or until this is over, I'm getting a paycheck for sitting at home. So I love my job. Yeah, I put in some crazy hours, but yet it's a distraction from a lot of things, which I needed because there for a while I was going almost every night when I was doing podcasts. Then when I stepped in for you for Pirate Radio, I really was going almost every night, and I just needed a break from everything. And quite frankly, eventually some of the areas that I've get into, it takes a toll on you mentally and emotionally, and you got to take a break.
Yeah,
And I'm known for taking long periods of break.
mentally, emotionally, physically. That's you're not joking about that. But
The politics bullshit.
exactly, exactly, because you're looking at things that even for people who do this for a living, um, I'm just going to be blunt and honest. It is a plethora of your on your plate.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, you get overwhelmed, and it doesn't make sense. And that's the thing nobody wants to talk about when we do talk about this. We have talked about this, but it's so stupid that, yeah, we see this, we know where it's going, and this one came from nowhere, from China. It is. It's funny. It's an infection that many can say is this, that, and the other. But when
Yeah.
you look at the actual R naught, and there's one person that's saying, hey, wait, let's not one person, it's more than one. Those folks that are looking into it are like, that R naught is wrong. For some reason, it's wrong. And it's because even though you and I probably can agree on one thing, uh, it is a bioweapon. But the problem
Oh yes.
is, yeah, the problem is with one thing, it's going down in severity.
Hmm.
And we're looking at less than 1% at this point. We're looking at less
Yeah, it was like
than 1% globally, right?
the yeah the statistics. Well, not can't go by that. You're right on what you said globally, but here in the United States, the statistics are more people have died from the fucking flu last year than they have of this, and been sick. It's like from the coronavirus, it's like 0.006 compared to
Right.
1.6 from the flu from last year. That was last year's flu, which, me and a guy from work got talking since we didn't have to work. We were just hanging around the parking lot for a bit. And, like, because I've kind of looked at some of the symptoms, and it's like, man, reminds me of the shit that I had in December that everybody was catching because it was the same respiratory issues. I mean, but there was normally you sleep, rest for a couple days, and you try to sweat it out. Well, there was no sweating this shit out. As soon as you try to sweat it out, you just got worse. It took literally 2 days of sleep, and you were fine.
Yep.
It was like and I didn't dawn on me until we was talking in the parking lot. He's like, you know what? I think you're right. He goes, from what I've been seeing, the symptoms are almost the same: high fever, you know, respiratory issues, and because it was bad. I mean, I couldn't shake it for almost 2 weeks until I just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to sleep," and I slept for 2 days. And the next day, I was perfectly healthy and fine. You know, that's the
Exactly.
thing with when we start getting into bioweapons, they're tested constantly on small scales. There's reports of, no, don't know how true these reports are, but there's truth that some of the testings on the coronavirus, which I did read some of the documentation, there was testing done on the coronavirus that stemmed back from when it first came out with, what was it, SIRS and MERS, I
Yeah,
think it was.
and there's a little bit of AIDS mixed into it for prolongation. But yeah,
But
that's what they did.
they tested it in rats or mice, laboratory mice, and somehow a couple mice that they tested on came up missing and infected some bats, so they say. And well, let's look at what happened last year. We had a huge bat die-off problem. When you start doing research, you can start connecting the dots. So how much truth and facts are into some of
Yeah,
this research that
bats and
we
bees.
don't know.
Yeah, bats and
But
bees.
when you start having mass die-off of certain species, it affects other things. And you know, but either way, somebody was playing around with the coronavirus in a lab.
Oh yeah,
That's
oh
how you
yeah,
make bioweapons.
oh yeah.
Whether you're trying
That's
to find a cure or not, I mean, these high security labs, they've got far worse things than in the
level
laboratory
4.
than,
Level 4
yep.
labs is what, yeah, that's what we want to search for. And honestly, it's sort of the morality of saying this did not come from Wuhan, China, which is
Right.
a level 4 lab. And then all of a sudden
What
they
makes
don't
you
want to
wonder,
say that the U.S. and Canada did not have Chinese people working on it within their labs. And
Yeah, see, I
that's,
don't buy that for it.
well, it's a problem because that they're still lying about that. They're like, no, it didn't happen here. Yes, the fuck it did.
But we can go into theoreticals, political theoreticals and stuff. But when you have a tyrannical government that wants Trump out of office, no matter what they can do, why not? Let's
Indeed.
crash the economy. That's his biggest fucking gain that he's got. And they've, truthfully, in a sense, kind of successfully done that by putting everybody on unemployment. For, not everybody's going to get lucky and work for a place like I worked that's going to pay us for 2 weeks for 40 hours and allow us to put our name on a sheet because they still have a little work. Shit. If
Indeed.
we need you,
Indeed.
we can call you in and we're going to give you fucking time and a half if you work on top of the 40 we're already paying you. But
Indeed,
look at
you're
the
right.
places around it. Every place is still open for business. Gas stations are open. But it is fucked up. I can get gas for $1.69 in the middle of this crisis. And it's not a crisis.
Fuck yeah, it's
It
not.
really isn't.
Yep. And it's not
All
a.
it is,
Hmm?
all it is people bought into the goddamn propaganda. And, it goes back to the shit they were doing clear back in World War II, playing with propaganda and fucking how to trigger people to do shit. I can't remember the actual technical terms. I've talked about it on my channel a little bit. I've talked about it various on other channels because there's some occult properties involved in that as well. How they use certain trigger objects to manipulate you and make you go buy something or induce a panic. And that's all you see when you turn on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, your local news. Mine's not so bad on the local side, but it's all it is.
Well,
These people know how to use certain words to cause a trigger.
well, I would disagree on one thing. Fox News, yeah, you knew where I was going.
Yeah.
Fox has been more steady than most. Unfortunately for the Dems, and I mean this because it's not. Look, here's the thing that most people are not seeing right now, and I mean this. And you have the hardcore Dems that are progressives. Progressives are communists, neoprogs. And then you have neocons. Well, they're not on Fox because both the neoprogs and the neocons, they don't like Trump. Trump is the mixer. They none of them like him, and they're all trying to unsteady. When I say unsteady, I mean they're trying to figure out a way to put him out of office. And this is, I believe, and if people disbelieve me, look up, I can't remember where it's at in the bill, but they're already looking at the fourth turning for him, where you have the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and the minority speaker in the Senate being able to name a special prosecutor, basically, to look into him for his handling of this shit. And his handling, he hit the shit before it even came here. And I've seen this going overseas. There is something going on right now. And they realize they can't beat him with Joe Biden. Joe Biden will name a female. It'll be, in my opinion, it'll be Hillary, because he said, I'll put a woman in there. I'll put a woman in there. Well, Biden's a moron. I mean,
Actually, you know who I think it would be?
I think it'll be Hillary.
Just because I think it actually will be somebody that most people haven't thought about, but she did leave her position. She was the secretary. What was her name? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I don't know. I mean, I think
Haley Clinton.
No. Here's where I see where you're going with that. No, I think it'll be Hillary on the outside, but Hillary has really put down every woman running for president, honestly, to be a VP candidate. I would not be upset if it was on Biden's side. I would not be upset with what's that from Hawaii?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, Tulsi. I would be.
Chick I was thinking of.
But
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley is that's not going to happen because it's still Trumpian. You're not going to see Nikki Haley.
I don't know. I think there was something there that more to that story. I've always felt that.
Well, no. I will tell you, it's not going to happen. But honestly, if we replace Pence with for Trump, if we replaced him with Tulsi, I wouldn't have heartburn on that because honestly, or at least put her in the cabinet, I wouldn't have had issues. But they don't want her. They don't want her. They don't want Bernie. I'm not a fan of Bernie, and
I'm not either.
And I'm not a fan of Tulsi either. But she is veteran, and
I mean, at least the last election cycle.
Yeah. Okay.
Bernie should have been their candidate because he had the people, he had the youth. He could have gave Trump a run for his money until they screwed the pooch on that. That would have been an interesting election if it wasn't Hillary and it was Bernie. I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it worked out the way it did, but it does leave you to think. They kind of sabotaged and screwed the pooch on themselves on that one. Because honestly, there's no Dem out there that can run against Trump.
Well, here's how I look at this. With Bernie, let's say it's Bernie and Trump. It's the most honest election we've ever had in the U.S.
Yeah,
where you have a communist and you have a capitalist. And this is crunch time. We're seeing Trump has awesome numbers compared to Bernie or anybody else. But that would be. I'm not a fan of Bernie at all.
Oh no!
And
I mean, I never want to see a communist ever get elected as our president.
Well, I would agree with that, but my point is, it's the more. I guess my point is it's the most honest and intellectual debate we can have. And yet, I don't think we want to have that debate.
Well, no, because you don't know their history.
Well, we know both their histories, actually. That's the hard problem with this.
Us older people do.
And even the
Okay,
young ones, when you see uh, East Germany, it's the easiest one. It's always the easiest one because that was behind the wall. That's why the wall
yeah.
was built. The East did that, not the West.
Nope.
And they always want to, dude. They just don't want to have that argument, and it's the whole United States of Europe, and that's from CCCP. It was a whole album. There is a different issue. I love how open your mind is, just like mine. But if you actually look at it broadly, you know, it's not the United States of Europe. It is what they founded through Angela Merkel, and everybody forgets. Everybody forgets. And I mean this. How Angela, and there's a book out, if people doubt me, it's called I'm Attica. And she was not only, now, people will dismiss Angela and they will not say who she is. She's a physicist. That's her schooling. In Germany, getting a physicist degree is not an easy thing. And she's smart. And she was the one who at one time said that bringing in foreigners into her country was a bad thing. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then she had her meeting with Obama. And then she came to the U.S., and this is another thing that I'll tell you. Matter of fact, I'll bring it in, and there are certain parts I can't say. But she came into the U.S. on this time. That was 2015. And
that was around the whole spying issue came about, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was pissed that the U.S. was looking at her phone. Right. Yeah, teleangling. Anyway, so here's the point. She wanted to go to a dude ranch. I was there. And it's a fact. And she was not the same person in 2004 that I met when she came to the G8 summit in Sea Island. And here's a major issue that I've seen is when she got there, she had a total sea change in her thought process. And it was because she got, and I see this a lot with humans in America and other places. White guilt. I got to be guilted by you if you're black. Look, I dated a black girl all through high school. Loved her to death. I mean, I don't mean to death, but I mean really cared about her, okay? And I was fortunate enough to always be friends with her. They bring this shit on to Americans to where I have to feel guilty about my skin color. Fuck you. And I have to feel guilty because I cared about a black woman. Really? Fuck you. Eat a dick.
I mean, well, that goes back to what most people don't even know their fucking history. If you go look at some of the biggest plantation owners back in the day, they were African American.
No. You're wrong. Not plantation owners. Most slavers that brought the slaves over. But
in the United States, the two biggest.
Yes.
I've actually did research on this and got the documentations on this. The two biggest ones was one in Texas and one in West Virginia, and they were black. They owned more slaves and on plantations than any white person. And
Yeah,
you're all right. When you're throwing that white guilt around, you might want to throw that black guilt around because it was your own people that sold you into slavery to begin with.
that would never happen, man. So that's the whole thing, that where we fell is to think that they're gonna actually take ownership of that, because there's still that 400 years of oppression that they always want to say. I mean,
And
there's some funny shit about this.
well, here's another
Okay.
misinterpretation of that. Let's not forget those that came here under indentured servitude, which was just another fancy name for
Irish,
slavery
yeah.
for the white people.
I
I
know.
mean, back in those days, everybody was enslaved to a certain point.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter
Yeah.
your skin color.
Yeah, but we're not that way now. That's the whole
No.
fucked up part about this. Here's something I'll tell you, Drew. I know we haven't had this conversation. A brother of mine, Antonio McGee, that's who he was. He was a federal cop. Great guy. Love this dude. This guy, I met his wife, he met mine. I would die for him, and literally, because this is in 2004. This is a for real story. This gentleman had to get this book. It was called How to Make a Slave. It wasn't a book. By the time I got it, it was a pamphlet. Okay? You can find it. I'm sure you can. And so can everybody else in the audience. And at this point, I'd given up on both parties. So had he in some ways. But anyways, it is what it is. He's a good dude. I will never talk shit about him or anybody else. Here's the point. Is he got that pamphlet, and he's like, dude, you gotta look at this. This is the kind of conditions they're trying to give us black folks, you know? And he was very black centric. I don't care about that. He is a good man, okay? So then I read it, and this is in my libertarian mindset at the time. And I read it, and dude, get this book. If you guys don't listen to me on anything, get this book. It's a pamphlet. It's gonna take you less than, I don't know, maybe 3 hours to read it. If you're a slow reader and a slow comprehender.
Oh.
And it's a slave captain bringing people over. And some of the little nuggets out of it, which is offensive to everybody, if the negress doesn't accept this, that, and the other, then you need to take the Negro away and make her dependent on clothing, food, money, this kind of thing, right? That's what this basic pamphlet says. Now, here's the problem. Is that as you bring it to modernity with welfare, it is not just the blacks, it's the whites too.
Everybody.
It's every fucking body. Exactly.
I mean,
but
that's how.
But see, that's.
I mean, look at the crisis the pandemic crisis at hand. It's the same fucking shit as what you're talking about right now. It's the way they enslave every human being. Here, like, let's just use technology for instance. You got to have the next new iPhone that's coming out, and everybody will jump in line when it comes out to buy it because they have to have it. Why do you have to have that?
Well, no. We can go even stupider than that. The toilet paper and paper towels and whatever. that these morons are fighting over that means absolutely nothing. I
When
mean,
your first priority is
if
human
if
food.
if look, if yes, exactly. If everybody would have shopped normal, every store would be fine in the US. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, what you have are, honestly, it makes me laugh. And I still laugh every time I go to my Kroger. Uh, the paper towels and everything else are gone off the shelves. If you morons would actually uh, just realize, shop normally, there wouldn't be a shortage. You're creating a false shortage,
Yep.
but you're afraid you can't wipe your ass. And then I've heard several stories from janitors from different places where you're so worried about toilet paper. Oh, toilet paper's gone. Oh my god, I didn't prepare. So let me go get coffee filters. They have jammed up toilets with coffee filters.
Filters that don't degrade in the water.
Yeah, they don't. Nothing, it's moronacy. But you know what? Here's something I realized. I think the best of Americans. And I think they wouldn't have done this. But now I believe you will do this because you're just stupid. I honestly didn't ever think Americans were stupid. And luckily, I didn't have to worry about having toilet paper or this and the other because it was like buy an extra one when you can.
Right.
It wasn't a big deal, and but we now have a society of assholes that want to fight over this bullshit, and it's not just us; it's all in the West.
It's
But
everywhere.
I think it was fed by the West, even from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of people. And we forget about the we. We think the, of the me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the more important thing. Anyways, I want you to expand on this because I think you have a lot to add on the we versus the me. I mean, if we all think about the me, you know, we lose civility, honestly. And
Yeah, we
that's my thought.
worse than introverts, and I'm an introvert. I mean, I'm enjoying this shit. I can go into a store. Oh shit, there's hardly anybody in here. It's peace and quiet. But that's the introvert in me. I like my solitude. A little too much, but I enjoy my solitude. I don't like big crowds. So I'm enjoying all this that's going on. I'm enjoying sitting back and laughing at all of you idiots out there just buying shit to be buying shit because you weren't prepared to begin with. And for the fact you're just buying into something that they've kind of flat out said is the flu. I watched Saturday. I didn't even know. I went to the store because I needed to get a few things for work because I knew I was going to be working. So I went to the store, like, man, everything, all the meat, food was gone in Walmart. I was like, what the hell? So then I was like, well, you know what? Just in case I do get shut down, and I'm going to stop at the tobacco store and get some tobacco, get a bag of tobaccos, a couple boxes of extra filters, put away, since I kind of gave away my older stock of it. Just go and just have a little backup just in case we run out. So I'm not going to be going to the gas station and buying a carton of cigarettes with no paycheck coming in. I went to the tobacco store and it was almost empty. I'm like, did I miss something? She's like, well, yeah, they get first case in Bryan was confirmed today, and everybody just went nuts. I had over 200 people come into my store buying tobacco within 20 minutes. I'm like, and she just got her truck in, so she, she's like, man, if it wasn't for this truck, I'd had to close. I'm like, what the hell? She explained it. I'm like, what? Yeah, well, I knew about that about earlier this week. There was somebody in Bryan that had it. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, people talk, and it's like, she's like, you're not panicked. I'm like, why should I be? There's nothing to panic about. It's the flu. She's like, you know what? You're right. Just like the lady that owns the gas station up the road here. We were talking, and she even said, man, I don't believe this. They're trying to cause panic and chaos. It's and she was going on, but like I said, I live out in a rural area. We see things differently. We don't get caught up in the hoopla, but a bunch of people did, and you shouldn't. The simple fact is, actually, I look at this as a blessing. There's going to be more time for people to rest, spend some time with their family, loved ones, you know, tune out of shit.
I agree.
This is a good thing, I think. Shit, if you're gonna let's screw the negatives. Let's look at the positives. But it's the way people listen to certain types of stuff, and they just panic when you shouldn't. It's like you pointed out. If we had just bought like we normally bought, wouldn't be an issue. You know, there comes a point where there's people out there that will do stuff to trigger an event, to trigger things to get people to panic. If people panic, it's not healthy for you. It makes you more susceptible to catch other things because you're putting so much stress on yourself. Then you start listening and falling victims where you're gonna want to go out there. Oh man, this happened. I need to go stock up on this, or I need to go buy this. I mean, I'm willing to bet right now. There's no numbers out yet. Online sales are probably through the roof with Amazon. In fact, I know through Amazon things have got to be through the roof because even on a 1-day delivery, it's taken about a week to get.
Well, I'll tell you this. My wife, for about 3-4 years, has gotten her maxi pads through Amazon, and she said the same thing. It was hilarious. She's like, I got my last order. She, like I said, 3 years. So she she got that, and they're like, we don't know when we can get them to you anymore. Her preferred brand, whatever. I don't bleed out a cunt because I don't have one. It just boggles the mind, this slave mentality that people always want to throw. And then the morons that, I don't have toilet paper. I don't have this. I don't have that. And honestly, it was about, I get where it's coming from because nobody told everybody if you just shop like you normally do, it'll be there. But what I saw in our town is a small town. And the manager of that Kroger and of that Walmart said if it would have been the same, there would be no problem. But if you went to both of the stores in my local town, here's what happened. This is fucked up. As I went up there, I just wanted to laugh at it, because I was looking for plates. 49 is people from Columbus, okay? Or people from, not Columbus. I just lied to you. It was people from Madison County. It's about counties. And then there's 88 counties in Ohio. And we had other numbers that were Dayton, Springfield, and uh, Columbus, Franklin County, uh, bouncing out into our town. And there was one dude. I've run into these same people, and they're like, "Oh, they got toilet paper," and people are calling other people, "Oh, you got to come here."
Yep, watched that happen around here
It's
too.
fucking moronic because of the panic, and people just do not want to live outside the panic zone.
Then some of it becomes that herd mentality. Everybody's got to follow the
Yes.
herd
Yes.
because this person's doing it.
No, no, I'll tell you this. There was a guy that actually called at one spot. It was at Kroger. And luckily, the butcher, he is looking at him, and he goes, this dude pulls out his phone. "Oh, they got toilet paper here. This, that, and the other." And he goes, "You need to call everybody back and say, don't come here. You're not welcome." And now we're getting to, and honestly, toilet paper, but, we have our stuff for you. This is so funny. We've been doing this for years where we have enough. I'm not worried about this. But these fucks just came up and said, we're going to, we're going to alleviate those things. And guess what? We still have it. They just didn't prepare. They didn't know
Right.
that something could happen. And they caused this. And I was talking to the manager of the Kroger, and he's like, "Yep, don't know when we'll get enough in." And honestly, now you have people from other counties coming in. How can you know when you're going to get enough in? Because they'll empty those shelves, just like you do every day. Water, at least. Water, that still boggles my mind. Because.
Yeah, I didn't get that because it was the toilet paper then the water.
Yeah. It's. Guess what? Your water is still fine wherever you're at. It makes no sense. Your thoughts, and I'll mute myself.
Yeah, my thoughts on that. I didn't get that because first it was the toilet paper, then the water. And I just the night before. Yeah, we're picking up an echo on my mic.
I just muted myself, so go on and talk about. I'm still blown away by the water because.
Well, yeah, because like I said, the night before, I was in there. I bought a case of water for my ex because she had just got evicted from her place and was getting put in a homeless shelter, and everything was stocked. The very next day, everything was gone. No paper towels, no toilet paper, no water. I mean, there was still at this time there was still plenty of food, but then you walk down towards the pharmacy. This is the other ironic part that blew my mind. All the Tylenol, Advil, they had cleaned all those shelves out too, and it was like, for real. And so I was like, I don't get, why is everybody panicking? Because you're told to? I mean, it goes back to, I understand the power of words, you know, how to trigger people. I'm pretty good at it myself. And trust me, every politician, every governor, every mayor, every elected official knows how to use words. We know how to say certain things, give it a certain tone from our voice that will induce people just to do what we've seen happen. We had places, oh, we were going to have to shut down. Why? You know, we should be business as usual right now. I mean, technically, if I look around, it's still kind of business as usual, even though we're supposed to be at stay at home. But yeah, you can go to the park and walk your dog. According to Governor DeWine, you go ahead, take your dog to the park. You can walk in the park.
Yep.
Just keep 6 feet away from each other. Now we go into stores and we see duct tape on the thing 6 feet apart. You need to stand on this X. Oh, don't cough while you're in a store. You're going to be told to leave.
See, that's what's so bizarre. Is this funny? Governor DeWine may have said that, but I have gone through my Kroger. There's no 6 feet bullshit. It's a cart length. If I get a cough, even though there is nothing happening with my cough, it just makes me laugh because they just, I don't know, man. It's just stupid. We have gone into mongrel stupid over this whole thing. And I don't know how to fix stupid. Because...
Oh, there's no fixing stupid.
Yeah. Keep going.
People just gotta realize, stop panicking. It's nothing to panic about. I mean, for Christ's sake, more people died of the flu than they've died of this thing. But I didn't see them. And here's the other thing: we've not seen, from previous cases that have been far worse than this, anything get shut down up until this time. That should be a red flag for everybody.
Yep.
Why all of a sudden is everything being shut down? I mean, this is a global, and they use the word global pandemic.
But so was SARS.
I mean,
so was H1N1. So was H1N1. So was AIDS. Look, I'm old enough.
Yeah.
You're a younger dude. I remember when AIDS was the gay plague, okay? And they said, oh, it's going to affect even heterosexuals. Lord help me to know how that would happen. But it's just so stupid. Homosexuals still can, still go up in each other's anus, still go in the mouth, ass to mouth. Being very honest about this, these folks still do that, and it doesn't make sense, they just
You know what really don't make sense?
go on.
That they just lie to that. PBS, remember the series Secrets of the Dead?
Actually, I never saw that, so fill us in.
Come to find out, this guy in California, he was gay openly. All his friends were catching the AIDS. This was in the 80s when it was really being affecting the homosexual community, but he didn't catch it. And he was, he had slept with some of these people that caught AIDS, and he didn't catch it. So some researchers started doing research on his blood. This guy actually had the cure for AIDS in his DNA. Come to find out, the survivors of the bubonic plague were the cure for AIDS. They had the cure clear back in the 80s. I mean, scientifically documented.
Well, that's interesting. Go on, brother.
I actually stumbled upon the show because I watch. I always enjoyed the Secrets of the Dead. It was always interesting, and they just happened to have two. They did two different episodes on the bubonic plague. And like I said, we've had diseases and pandemics that are far worse than what we're seeing now. And guess what? They weren't labeled as the flu. I mean, to this day, we still have cases of bubonic plague here in the United States, out west. But it's treatable with penicillin if it's caught early.
Kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And everybody forgets about, we're talking about AIDS, everybody forgets about Magic Johnson. He went overseas and got the cure.
Well, we're seeing the same thing now. I mean, it's just, it's the panic.
Mm-hmm.
And
what does panic do? When you start stressing, it allows you your immune system weakens, which allows you to catch other things.
exactly.
It goes back to,
exactly.
we both agree that, this is biological weaponry at its finest. What's the end goal to biological weapon? Well, it's population decrease. It goes back to that whole eugenics bullshit. Everything has been practiced throughout history.
It's population control, and
Yep.
now we have it. We're able to lock
Mm-hmm.
down entire towns, entire states. And
I mean, I don't even stress about all this stuff because what everybody's seeing right now is what they are trying to implement. They want to see, this is a test trial. They want to see how everybody reacts. There's scientists and some think tank out there documenting everything. Okay, we created a panic by saying these things, doing this, setting this in motion. Okay, we see that we have a little problem with certain areas, because I mean, California probably had the strictest stay in place order. And it didn't really work there.
well, just think about this. Think about this. California. I like how you brought that up. I mean that. Now they have an ability. We're talking lever action rifles or, you know, 6 shooters. They're saying they're not going to issue anymore. They're not going to allow the gun dealers to issue them. It's kind of funny how maybe a woman who may need a Saturday Night Special. Remember Saturday Night Specials? No, you don't. You probably won't remember this.
I remember
when
that.
I was a kid, when I was a kid, dude, this was not your thing. But I remember it didn't affect us. My mother had a six shooter. A six shooter. Here's how funny this shit is. Um, she could not get a six shooter until she could after this because it was, they called them all pistols were Saturday night specials, and that's how they vilified them until the women rose up, and the women should rise up over ARs, AKs, all those different things. We'll see where this goes, but the greater point is if you have a rifle that is, you know, uh, the old fashioned thing, it's, you got a lever action loaded on Sunday, and you can shoot all week and get food.
Yep.
They're now vilifying those guns as, believe this or not, I think they will try to say those guns, because remember that the lowest caliber will be 38 through 57. And listen to me on this. They will say those guns are semi-autos because of the lever action. I'm telling you, man, this stuff is so moronic. People don't want to see the morality of this.
No, because I mean, now we're really putting power in politicians' hands that shouldn't have so much power. We're putting power in governments and governors' hands that really shouldn't have that much power. Because what they're going to do is, you know, we got all these people that's anti-guns. They're going to go after everything. They're going to put. I mean, we watched Pelosi slip in shit into that fucking House bill that was ridiculous. Amnesty for DACA. I mean, shit that we, you know, every chance they get, they're trying to screw the American people, take more of your rights. And I don't get why people aren't paying more attention to that, because with the crisis that we have, self-made as it is, we're dealing with states going on lockdown. You know, we got certain states that are threatening to call in. Basically, we're one step away from them. Okay, let's just declare martial law and just lock everything down. And the more people panic shop and just do things. I mean, you're just going to give them the reason to put this orders in place. You know, it's just like FEMA. It's been ordered to every state.
It's retarded. It's
right.
Absolutely retarded, and that's my thought.
In some ways, I do love how DeWine and the governor of Michigan worded it with, you know, how they worded it because they didn't want to use the other terms that everybody else were using it, because in a sense it's still business as usual. We still have rights, although I don't, you know, granted I did get issued a travel paper so I could travel back and forth to work. You know, that's stupid because it's still business as usual. I mean, hello, I just stopped at Burger King yesterday and ordered through the drive-through. You know how many hands people are touching cooking that food without gloves? Just saying. It happens. I've worked in fast food. It happens all the time. I don't care how diligent you think these clean restaurants are. It's still business as usual. I can still go to tomorrow at 7:30. I can go to Walmart and do whatever shopping I got to do. It's still open. Dollar store's still
And
open. The gas stations are still open.
the whole thing is how many people touch their dicks, how many people touch their puss. It's this is retarded. And
Fuck, everybody's gonna be, my personal opinion, hey, you should be out there fucking right now. It's the best cure for anything.
yeah,
You're sweating shit out of your system. Fucking, you're stimulating your immune system. You're stimulating all kinds of stuff. I'm just saying. Doctors have already said that. Sex is probably one of the best cures.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. And it's just retarded, man. I mean, and everybody, this video that we're talking about will probably get my channel removed from YouTube. But
Oh no,
I don't even give a fuck. I don't give a fuck because it's retarded. Look, here's how this.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, look at Twitter. You make the wrong joke about it, you're getting fucking suspended. I mean, I mean, you got to have a sense of humor. I mean, for most people that you don't know, one of my favorite comedians of all time was George Carlin.
My favorite
said it like it was.
My favorite comedians were a few. Nick Capallo, an awesome dude that a lot of people don't see is there's a dude at one point that he is so funny. I always say, black dude. He everybody wants to always say it's one way or the other. And I don't believe that. Because this guy stood up in Alex Jones' show and also in Fox, and he also had issues with, MSNBC. And I've seen him do this. And he called himself Black Phillip, right? But the problem is, it was one dude that put it out there, and he said this stuff, and yet right now what we're seeing is a culling. I believe this. Because they're trying to fuck Americans from free thought.
Right, and it's been happening for a while.
Yes, and when you start talking about Patrice O'Neal, who died, I will never believe he died for no reason. Opie and Anthony, wow, whip them out Wednesdays. You know the way to fix this? Whip them out Wednesdays, girls. You guys pull your titties out on Wednesdays. Whip them out Wednesdays. And I'm telling you, the retardation has to stop. Bobo was one of those people there that you and I both know what we're talking about.
Yep.
This is, Opie and Anthony. There is something that happened during that time. And I preciously love free speech. And if we don't protect this now, free speech, and I don't give a fuck what YouTube does on my page. This will go out. If we do not protect, if I say faggot, cunt, the 7 words that Carlin did.
I love the 7 words.
You know what? I'm a cunt. And we have to protect this because they want to destroy truth. Just like they have statues. I mean,
don't get me started on that.
Well, no, I'm gonna do something that you may or may not have known. There was a thing that I was asked to do by a certain corp. Okay, this is for real, and it was in Washington Lee University, and there's a statue in Lee, and guess what? Mike Seiner, I was there, and he knows this. I mean, so does the FBI, because I got a visit by them. And those fuckers knew. I went there for one reason, brother. It was about, it's the same Jewish thing that if you forget your past, then you have a problem in the future.
Exactly.
And you know what? We now forgive them in this woke society. And
there's an old saying. It's okay to forgive, but never forget.
Exactly. Never forget it. That's exactly fucking right. But don't pull the statues down, but they have. They're shredding.
I did videos on that.
Yeah.
I think I called it. I did 2 videos on it, but both videos have the title of the new book burning in the digital age. Titled some on some of those lines on my channel on Sons of Daughter of Liberty, because that's what it is. It ain't no different than what fucking Hitler did, burning all those books. You're taking, and it's just not Hitler. I can go back farther and farther to every fucking conqueror that conquered anything, including Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan. When they took something, they destroyed the history. Our history is not written by the conquered. It's written by the conqueror. Throughout history, that's what it's written. There's always more than one side to history.
Exactly.
The side of people that were conquered, that passed down through journals, through word of mouth, through family, through generations. There's a hidden history to every culture out there, clear down to the Indians. I mean, there's stuff we find. I got privilege to sit down and talk with some elders, and we had talks about shit that's here in the United States that happened with the Indians that they probably didn't want you to talk about. Me and you've kind of discussed it a little bit too. When it comes to dealing with the giants and Nephilims, most people don't know part of the Indian history is they fought them here in the U.S. And there's a little
truth. History. That's true. But we won't talk about the giants and Nephilims ever again.
But yeah. But it goes back to there's so much out there. Here's the thing. The most dangerous people in this world, in any country, any state, anywhere, and this goes clear back to the root origins of what heathen, heretic, and pagan mean, is the free thinker, the free common folk. Those that can free and think for themselves are a danger to any government, religion, governing society body, because you can't control the free thinker. They see through the lies, they speak their mind, and they question everything. When you give up your right to free thought,
I
Free
question,
speech. You get
brother,
good.
I question everything because
Mhm.
of certain reasons and things I've seen. And, one thing I saw, and we'll never talk about that, and what I've seen one time.
Mhm.
And,
I mean, I've seen shit that I don't talk about because,
yeah, I,
yeah, no. Well,
I, I just am telling you, brother, there are certain things that, for reasons, for brothers, and this is something that will never be spoken of again. I don't even know if I'll post this now, but I will tell you, a matter of fact, I will post it. I am so fed up with what we've covered up, and it's from small estate to big estate. And they just don't want to, um, they don't want to talk about it, man. And
there's so much stuff
I,
they're trying to
I've,
erase from history.
I've been told, shut your mouth. Um, but that didn't bother me. What bothered me was when I had a brother ventilate his cranium over, and he was the biggest advocate for me to say. And when John blew his brains out, um, and left this note for his mother, and his mother knows. Uh, man, I wish I could tell you everything openly. Anyways, I'm just a cunt. Who cares? I'm a lying cunt. And you know what? I'll maintain I'm a lying cunt. Because
I,
I don't care anymore. I honestly can't care anymore because who cares? Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Yeah, yeah. So we're good. All right, bro.
I mean, but why does people get? Why does people? It goes back to when I say that because I truly don't care. You know, if it don't affect me, then I don't care. I mean, it's like what's going around right now. Everybody seems to be affected, but a handful. You know, that handful. I'm enjoying spending time with them because we're enjoying the peace and quiet, watching people. We're having fun, sitting back, laughing at all of you that are going out there, mass buying, getting your panties in a bundle over something that probably should be the best having you should be having the best time of your lives right now. Having fun, enjoying time with friends, loved ones, a break from work, catching up on the things you might want to catch up to that you've been putting off all this time. There's so much positivity that can come out of this. Everybody's focused on the negative aspects because you've been programmed to focus on those things. Just like you go into your social media feeds, you're programmed to see the negative, not the positive. But yet I've seen so much positive shit from we the people, not me, the people, we the people, helping their fellow brothers and sisters out. I seen somebody that I know hasn't worked in 3 months post, hey, if you guys need help with food and stuff, I've got a little bit while your kids are at home. I can help you. You know, I've seen so much goodness come out of this, but it gets pushed in your feeds, it gets pushed away because of all the negativity. I've seen some crazy ass memes that just make you sit there and laugh your ass off, and laughter is another good cure for anything that ails you. It gets to the point where screw the chaos. Well, I love chaos, but screw the chaos, screw the negative. I'm going to enjoy this. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go get my fishing license and I'm going to go out fishing. I'm going to get some peace of mind
Hell
and
yeah.
not worry about this. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be putting food on my table because instead of catch release, I'm going to catch to eat.
So all you
I love
whack
it.
jobs out there think that's cruel and unusual? I'm putting food on my table. That's what I was taught how to do. I was taught to hunt. I was taught to survive. I don't need to go to the store to put my own food on the table. It's starting to warm up. We've already got our arrow gardens going, getting stuff ready for
Hell yeah.
spring planting. There's
Hell
all
yeah.
kinds of stuff we could be doing right now that's going to better us. We're going to feel better. And guess what? If you're planting your gardens now inside, getting them ready as these warm days come about, and you start getting your stuff prepared, guess what? That's less trips you got to make to the grocery store because you're going to have food come fall that you've grown yourself. You know, people look at me as like, I don't care. I don't know. Yeah, I got stress. I've got my own personal problems, but fuck it. I focus on something else. I can't, I just about like I've been telling people late, you're late. Screw trying to control the things you can't control. Focus on the things you can control. Because I can't control what the government's going to do tomorrow.
Well,
But I can control my own life.
as I always say, 2 holes in a bucket, fuck it. Look,
Right.
I've been very fortunate. I bodyguarded a lot of people. I don't. Here's the thing. We can play around with different things, but I want to see the Tankapult. I want the tanks to get on a Tankapult. And I want them to be launched by the morons that think they can. There's just too many morons, man, and I mean that within every situation. You know, I've tried to be honest with folks, but honestly, I'm at that part of my life where I really don't care about most people because I thought several times in my life, I could make a difference. Guess what? I can't. I can't. I thought I could. Nah.
I don't agree with that. We make differences. This has always been my mindset. Even when I started doing podcasts, I'm not about the numbers. You know that.
I know that.
I'm not about all that because you know what? Every one of us has a message. It's not for the fucking 1,000, 10,000, whatever your subscriber count is or your follower count, because that's another fucking program propaganda bullshit.
Yeah.
It's about that one person that was meant to hear it. There's somebody out there that's meant to listen to this podcast that needed to hear this. That's all that matters. That one person, not the fucking masses. And it might not be today. It might not be tomorrow when you post this. It might be a year from now. Somebody's going to sit back and listen to this that needed to hear what was being said. That's what makes what we do so important, even though I've gotten away from it.
Yep, I know, but it's about truth. It's about truth. And that's the whole point. That is the sword point. That really is the sword point about this. And I get it. I just.
You're at that point where, I get it. I do get where you're coming from because I've been there before.
Yeah.
I usually stay on that point most of the time because I just don't. And I'm not as far as where my dad is.
Well,
my dad's like, well, humanity's the failure. No, I don't believe that because I still see.
I do too. I do too. I'm not saying I've given up on every human being, but I just see the vilification, and honestly deserved vilification, because, you know, I've been called everything. And, I've been honest about it. I don't care what people call me. Look, you want to call me a Nazi, a fascist, whatever, that's fine. I, if you think I subscribe to that, I'm good with that. You know, I don't even give a fuck. But I still am telling everybody, from the black girl who I dated all through high school, who's still a friend of mine, um, and everybody else that knows me, that I still care about them. Here's the whole bullshit of this. It's just so much bullshit. And if you can't understand the reality of the situation, I don't know if I can. I've tried to fix, and you know this, you've heard me tell you this offline, and there's many things I've told you offline. I will tell you, I have tried to fix a lot of things that I knew were happening, and so has so many people. They knew this was not done in a. It wasn't done in a viral, or not viral. That's the wrong way to say it. It wasn't done in a closed tube. It was done out in the open. Always. And it boggles my mind when morons want to try to say, oh, well, this guy is just totally this way and that way. I will never understand how we have put ourselves, not ourselves, not you. I'm not bringing you into my banquet. I don't understand how these people act surprised or get shocked that, I can speak truth to power. And truth to power is about Americans. It's about those motherfuckers who I love more than any of you fake patriots will act like you
There's
can.
20 of those to go around.
Yeah, I know. I've seen them. Big fuck tard and all these people. They know more than I do. Yeah, no, you don't. And it just blows me away, man. And anyway, so go on, man. I'll let you close this show out.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we've touched on a lot of topics, but all the topics we've touched on can still be brought back to exactly what you stated, that me and we mentality. We've lost that we. It's been programmed out of us. Because now, we're using the term social distancing. What? Social distance? Now is the time we should be more social than anything. So, Governor DeWine, go fuck yourself. We should be more social. We should be more interactive in our communities. And stop the fear. Stop the fucking listening to everything, thinking you have to have toilet paper above food. The mentality of that alone, you guys should rethink yourselves, because when you put a piece of paper that you can get anywhere in your house, I mean, I'm sure people's got tons of paper laying around of various sorts. And if you don't got that, you got plenty of old clothes that are probably cloth that you're just laying around, gathering dust and mold and whatnot, rats eating them, that could be used perfectly fine to wipe your ass. You know, it's you guys are listening to so many people that are just trying to cause a panic. There's nothing to panic about. Stop focusing on the negative. Start focusing on the positive. Start thinking about, okay, what can I make today even better? Shit, I've got vacation. I'm off. I guess I get some people aren't getting paid and they're stressing about that. You know, but don't. What? How many projects do you got at home right now that you've put off because you've been working your ass off to provide for your family?
Yep.
How much time have you spent with your kids? Now's the time you can spend with your kids because you're not having to go to work. This is one of the biggest blessings in disguise that I've seen in a long time. And people are missing the blessing part. Stop. Think. Don't walk past something. You know, as the old saying goes, take time to smell the roses. You're missing out on so much right now. You know, and people are gonna look at me. Oh, you're an asshole. Yeah, I've called that a lot lately, and I am. I'll admit it. I'm an asshole. That's my
I'm a
ass. I'm an
bigger,
asshole.
I'm a bigger asshole than you are, bro.
Probably. I mean, because I'm just set in my ways. I like doing things. To me, I mean, like I said, part of me getting away from podcasting, getting away from streaming, social platforms, was for me. It was now any excuse I can make. There's only one real excuse. It was for me. I've put everybody first and everything first above myself. And
Yes,
it
you
was
have.
time
Yes,
that I
you
put
have.
myself first. I've got goals that I hadn't checked off that I wanted to check off. And yes, I'm antisocial, and it was time to stop being antisocial. And it was
You
time to get out and do things.
you were never
Anyway.
antisocial. Yeah, here's where I have to correct you. You were never antisocial. You just didn't want to bring your thoughts out. And I get it. I get it, man. You did not want to jump into the fray. And I get that. Because these times are horrible. And I think they're changing. I think they're changing. If you doubt me, we'll find out very soon. Probably when I post this. But luckily, Drew, you will find out nothing because hopefully no one understands who you are. And that's okay. And here's it just pisses me off that now we can't talk about truth. That's my big problem. And that's all we'll say. All right, God, keep going, bro.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's one thing they don't want you ever to be talking about the truth anyway. And that's that's the part that pisses me off. Especially with my family history and my history. We live in this country. We're supposed to have all these freedoms, but every time we turn around, they're trying to find a way to strip them from us. They pretty much will said the Constitution is null and void. It don't apply. We got
Yep.
politicians that deserve to be in jail, but they'll put an in person that can't pay their child support, gets backed up because of this now. They're going to put them in jail because they couldn't pay their child support. when the true criminals are sitting right there trying to strip you of your rights. That's the truth. The truth is, we got to get back to our roots. We got to get back to what our forefathers originally wanted for this country. What they created, why the United States is the most hated country in the world, is because of our freedoms, our ability to say what we want, when we want, express ourselves. If you want to fucking own 100,000 guns, you can own them. If you want to go hunting,
Yep.
fishing, put food on your table, provide, that was your right. That was your due diligence as a man or woman to provide for your family. Not some fucking healthcare worker, not some fucking government official, government employee that's telling you, oh no, you can't have control of your children. We got control of your children. You can't spank your children. We know what's best for your children. You know, I was actually talking about being amazed and shocked. I was shocked to find out that this even affected fucking homeschools. My friend that lives out in Portland can't even homeschool her kids because they canceled the homeschooling part. How moronic is that? If anything, we've got all this technology. We should be having classrooms. Kids should still be having classrooms in their home through the computer or the iPads. But no, we're going to stop all that. Wake up, guys. You want the simple truth? Simple truth is you've lost control of your own households. Why don't you start taking some of that control back?
You know what? You're exactly right. That, in all honesty, they have lost control of their own households. And luckily, my son skipped through, and I mean that, skipped through everything. Look, folks, the reality is this. I don't know how to put this to you, but every American today, I believe, is the solution to the problem.
Yep.
And you need to realize this. And that's my 2 cents. Your thoughts, man, and then we'll close it out. And you get to close this program out, as I always do.
You know, my thoughts is screw what everybody's telling you. Start getting back to the mentality, we the people, because that's what we are. We're all brothers and sisters. I don't give a flying fuck what your skin color is, what your religion is, what your sexuality is. We're all supposed to be Americans. We're all supposed to be there for each other, treat each other as brothers and sisters. Quit letting people tell you otherwise, that you need to be this label. Fuck a label. You know what a label is? It's just a fucking word that somebody's given power over, that you're giving power to somebody else. You're a slave to somebody else by slapping that label on yourself and claiming to be something that you're not. Own up. Be a man. Be a woman. Be what you're supposed to be, and that is a brother and sister to your fellow neighbors and community. Support them. Don't let other people come in and say they got to. We're supporting you. You got to do what we say because we know what's best for you. No, they don't. You know what's best for your family, your community, and you should be providing for that, not some foreign entity such as FEMA that's telling, oh, you need to keep 6 feet apart. Man, screw that. Be yourselves. Go to live each day as it is meant to be. You know, start remembering what we the people is supposed to be about.
We the people.
You know, and I see it.
We the people. And that's something that you have stressed numerous times, and you're gonna eat. Oh well, I know where it'll come from. It's uh, you know, certain things, but definitely, um, if you want to share your program, you don't have to if you don't want to, but um, Drew, you're the solution to this bullshit. I've tried it, but I had to put a black mark on my name. And you know why and when I did that. Um,
Hmm.
it's just a fact. I mean, if you don't want to, that's fine. But
Well, no, normally
yeah,
I just say you don't. I normally my use pitch to this. Those that want to find me, you'll find me. But no, things are gonna be a little bit different now. If you want to find me, I'm not that hard to find. Look up Drew Lima. Look up Drew Smiley. Find my channel, Sons and Daughters of Liberty, KOTR. Two different YouTube channels, two different schools of thoughts. You know, it's gotten to the point where yes, I've been away for a while, and truthfully, I think a lot of people like it when I'm away. I know they do because
I know they
I'm
do
that monkey.
too.
I'm that monkey Rich that says whatever the fuck I want to say and don't give a damn.
I know they do. And here's what I'll say. Folks, if you look up who I'm talking to tonight, he, I know certain people will call, you know, the, it's just, you look up, um, make sure on your channel that there's a horrible thing that happens within this whole community where everybody's got a social signal. And in all honesty, uh, you have about 5 people that I know, and we'll talk about that later. But as soon as you post a video, they will fucking uh, try to talk about you like you agree with everything, and I know you don't. Everything I agree with, and honestly, a lot of that shit is they assume I agree with. So, but you know this. You've known me
Mm,
for how many years?
a
Uh,
few.
yeah. Uh, it's just retarded. People want to assume they really don't know our backstories, either of us. And it saddens me in a way because the backstories give the flavor.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. And that's all I have to say. So I'll post this as soon as it comes up, you know? And that's all I have to say. And I'm gonna let you close this shit out because, folks, if you want to know some truth, go to Drew Lima.
You know, like I tell everybody, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't want to be. But for right now, I think the best thing for everybody is to enjoy life, have fun, Now's the best time to have fun. We're looking at probably some of the best times in our life if we just tune shit out, tune that negative shit out, and go about our daily lives being, good brothers and sisters to each other. You know, putting the things that we've put back, forgotten how to be first again, like putting family first, putting other people first, because we get caught up in all this social media bullshit, all this, oh, I have to be at work. I'm working so many hours. Guess what? Now you don't have that excuse to do the things that you've been putting off. Start checking off those things you put off, and you'll find yourself a lot better place than you were yesterday. I know because I had to do it past several months. That's what I've been doing. I put myself first because I put everybody else first before then. And yes, I've had my ups and downs, but you know what? It's made me a better person today than I was yesterday. That's what I'm going to close on.
Truth that. And here's what I'll say. Thank you guys for stopping by Kaiser's Castle. I'm going to slowly raise the drawbridge. And I am very thankful for Drew and everybody else out there listening. There is something that's happening right now that you may or may not know. I'm just happy to have this conversation with Drew. And that's all I'll say. So, get off my big orange couch. I will slowly raise that drawbridge. Finish your coffee, tea, soda, or adult libation. And make sure you understand where we come from. Alright. God bless. Be well, be safe. And in the end, Chef out.